So my credit card bills are paid even before the statement has been generated. I have my skincare figured out and I don't think I'll run out of any of the products even after 6 months. I have enough books to read on different topics and different moods for around 6 months. I have shows lined up to watch for every mood of mine. I make sure I'm donating enough. I make sure I'm spiritually progressing enough. I think even my clothes are sorted for next couple of years. My bathroom supplies are stocked up for next 6 months. I think I know enough to hold a conversation with anyone about anything. Well, that excludes politics, of course. I have enough jewelry to last me a couple of years. I make sure that my mental health is in check as well. I take care of my vitamins in my body, although I don't exercise, but overall, I think I'm in a pretty good shape. All in all, I think I'm pretty sorted. And yet, I forgot to eat last night. I describe overthinking as the ability to think in almost every possible direction with great efficiency and great accuracy. I genuinely believe that being able to overthink is a superpower if used in the right way. It is like a double-edged sword. It can be used for or against you. And in the past, it has honestly worked always against me, but now I think I have learned a few things so that I can use it for myself. And for that, the greatest realization that I had was probably that it's okay to sit it out. It's okay to swim on it. There will be situations where no matter what you're thinking about, be it your past, your present, or something that you have to decide on, but it will take a lot of time, let's say maybe a week or a couple of weeks or a month. And during that time, you keep thinking about the same things again and again. And you lose focus of where you are. You kind of are in this trance-like state where you feel like you're flowing. You're flowing with the water and you have no idea if you want to flow or if you want to resist or where you're going or what is happening around you. And you constantly struggle to get back to your thoughts. You want to keep thinking about what the situation at your hand is. However, I have learned that it's okay to sit it out. It's okay to swim on it. As in, you can keep going with your life. You can go to work, you can go at your gym, you can go at some classes that you go to and not think about the problem at your hand for a couple of hours or so. You don't have to keep thinking about it all the time. You can give it some time during the day, whether it's something you decided on or if it's just something that happens, but you can let it be a part of your life for a little while. You don't have to make a decision on the spot. You don't have to hurry it. Now, why is that so important? I think you'll relate to it a lot. When you are in that overthinking zone, you tend to create more problems for yourself. For example, let's say that you are worried about the situation at your hand and you're not able to, or you're not focusing on anything else right now. What's this gonna do is this is going to create problems in other areas of your life. Let's say your job or your health. And now you have 2 more problems to worry about. Now you're gonna worry about how you're not productive, how you're not good anymore, how you doubt if this job is even for you. And on the opposite end, if you're getting some kind of satisfaction from your job, let's say that you have this 2-hour job that you have to complete as opposed to you not completing it. Completing it would give you some dopamine. That's gonna make you feel good, confident, and in a way would help you trust yourself more. So that way, with that a little bit more dopamine, you are going to be able to focus more on the situation at your hand and going to make a better decision, or you're going to trust your decisions much more. So in this situation, I would really encourage you to think about what's important for you right now and why it's so important and what are the consequences of you not doing it. And I would want you to take the control back of your life from the situation. Another thing that I've found to be very useful is zooming out and shrinking in. Zooming out from the situation and shrinking in the problem set at your hand. Let's say, for example, that you have a situation at your hand and you're just focusing on that one big area. Let's say it's about a job that you really want, but you don't really want to switch to a different state, let's say, for example. So in this situation, I want you to ask, okay, in long run, what is going to be beneficial? Am I in my headspace right now? Am I focusing too much on what I'm feeling right now? Am I feeling homesick? Am I making my decisions based on my comfort zone? Am I focusing too much on what my family wants? How serious is this problem? Is this really something that is as big as I think it is, or it is something that seems bigger to me because it is close to me right now? Am I focusing too much on one of the areas that I think is important, let's say food? If so, how important is that really? Is that really not any workaround, or am I not even thinking about the possible workarounds of this one problem set that I think is the biggest right now? If I were living in a different country, would this matter as much as it does right now? If not me, but someone else were to do it, would I still feel the same way as I do right now? Would I judge them? Would I encourage them? What advice would I give them? Am I assuming things here? Am I assuming that my family is going to feel this way, my friends are going to feel that way, or that I am going to feel that way? Am I focusing on facts or feelings? And then I want you to shrink in the problem set. Let's say, for example, that you have a few problems surrounding your switching to a different state. Let's say one of them is food, one of them is living away from your family, one of them is, let's say, the fear of change. So shrinking down on your problem set would mean whatever problems you have at your hand, you can write those down and you can mark them checked once you resolve them. You can put some solutions around them. For food, let's say, I can cook myself, or I can get someone to cook for me, or I can try new things, let's say. And then that way you can pick something from all these things and you can mark it as resolved. So now you have one less problem to worry about. This technique also helps you get out of that spiral of overthinking. I would really recommend that you write things down, or you record yourself, or you do something which makes it serious for you. For me personally, it holds much more weight if I put them on paper. If I write things down and tell myself this is how I feel about the situation and I don't think this is going to change. Or if I talk to someone and I have my doubts cleared around if I'm being too conscious, if I'm focusing on one thing or one area too much, or if I'm in my head a lot. So talking to someone or writing things down or having a little conversation with myself out loud when I'm asking the questions and I'm answering the questions and I'm moving on to another question. This anything that makes you feel like this conversation is serious and that one topic has been dealt with and you don't need to revisit it again. Anything that does that for you, I encourage you to do that. Because that is going to get you out of that spiral of thinking about the same thing again and again, where you think about one thing, you move on to another, then you move on to another, and eventually you come back to the original problem. It's more like a maze than a spiral actually. Now, before I move on to my next piece of advice, I would take a moment to tell you that if you think I'm being helpful at all, if I'm adding any value to your life, I would love it if you could subscribe. That's the only way for me to be able to create what I love, and probably you do too, without having to compromise on my sleep or the quality of the production, and reach to you on time every week. And the last thing that I want to discuss, which I think is very important, is getting inside a blanket. Okay, so we overthinkers tend to be anxious as well a lot of times, and we lean towards the negative set of emotions, the confusion, the doubt, the fear, all of that a lot, and we forget about the positive emotions. And a lot of times the decisions that we are making is coming from a place of being anxious and not at peace. Even after we have made the decision, we are not fully confident about it, we are not really entirely at peace with it, we are not in a state to say that yes, I've made the right decision. So the previous two things that I talked about, giving yourself enough time and dealing with your life every day anyway, is going to give you that headspace to think clearly and to give the confidence that you're not really making a decision out of anxiety, out of any kind of urgency. And the second thing, when you are discussing your ideas or your perspective with someone, or you're writing things down and you're marking them checked, it is going to give you a confidence that yes, you have thought about everything that you could think about. It is going to give you confidence that your decision is well researched. once we have those things out of the picture, I want you to be at a place where you're warm and cozy, like you're in a blanket. In short, you are at peace with whatever you're deciding on. For me, personally, for really bigger things in my life, it would mean me being able to say that even if I'm making the biggest mistake of my life by making this decision, I still want to make it. Now, it's not always going to be the case that you are able to say such extreme things, because sometimes it's going to be 49 and 51, where you're leaning towards one thing 49% and at the other thing 51%, and you have to go with that just 1% extra. But I want you to be at peace with that decision, that even if this thing goes wrong, it's okay, I made this decision and I'm prepared for the worst case scenario. Now, I don't want you to focus too much on the worst case scenario as well, because no matter what you do, not all your decisions are going to be perfect and right. And even after you have made the decision, you are still going to ruminate about it at times. You're gonna think back at the problems that you had, and you're going to reconsider your options and evaluations. But I want you to remind yourself that you did best with all the information you had at hand at the moment. And I want you to move past that self-doubt. See, if you do allow yourself to get pulled in that spiral again, it will be harder to get out later on. So the moment you catch yourself thinking about those things again, I want you to remind yourself that you've tried your best and it's done. It has been concluded. There is no more thinking required in this topic anymore. Just because you can think about something doesn't mean you have to. Now, I will definitely come back to this topic for my Peaceful Life series, but I want to leave you with this. Overthinking is not a weakness of yours, it is a superpower. You have a lot more to gain from it than lose it. Think of it as a really high-speed, very accurate gun. It is a super powerful gun. You can aim anywhere with it. You just have to learn how to aim it, how to control it. Happy overthinking. No, happy deep thinking.